Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us on today's episode of Shape Unplugged. I'm your host, Stephanie Morris, CEO of Shape America. My pronouns are she and hers. And today I have two awesome guests joining me to talk a little bit about really exciting work underway right now. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Sarah Toth, professor at Alabama A&M University. And second, I would like to introduce Ms. Nadine Marchessault, health education specialist at the Hawaii State Department of Education. Nadine and Sarah are also the co-chairs of the task force revising the National Health Education Standards. And so they're here today to talk a little bit with us about the work underway to do just that. So Nadine and Sarah, first of all, a warm welcome to you both. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me on this episode of Shape Unplugged.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, and all the listeners. We are just absolutely delighted to be here.
So let's dive into the first question that I have for both of you. Can you share with us a little bit just who you are, where you live, the role you play in the health education field, and perhaps also just briefly a little bit of your personal why? What drew you to the health education field as a professional? So first, why don't we go ahead and start with Sarah?
Thank you so much, Stephanie. Well, as Stephanie said, I'm a professor at Alabama A&M University, where I am also a proud alumna. So go Bulldogs. I am coming to you live from the Rocket City, which is also known as Huntsville, Alabama. So some of you may be familiar with Space Camp. That's what we are known for here. And I guess my ultimate goal for my profession choice is to relieve human suffering. I believe that we are all meant to live life to the full and enjoy a high quality of life. So I see myself as an instrument to help other people achieve their potential. Every child, every human has so much potential, and I believe to whom much is given, much is expected. So here I am.
Yeah, I'm Nadine Marchessault. I'm calling from Honolulu, Hawaii. And I'm really honored to be part of this process. It's a very humbling experience. I serve currently as a health education specialist at the Hawaii State Department of Education, coming from elementary education, health education background. And I think I love Sarah's answer. It's just a beautiful answer for her why for being involved in this work. I think one of the things that drew me to health education early in my pre-service work as an undergraduate student at the University of Hawaii was taking a health education course in my coursework, and just my eyes being so wide open to why is this the first time I'm really learning about this in this structured way? Why are not? I guess it just dawned on me, like, why aren't more kids learning about this as they go through their school experience, and how can I be part of a solution and contribute that? I feel like I gained a lot personally from the experience, just in the things I was dealing with in my life at the time, and I feel like it was important to contribute that.
Thank you so much, Nadine. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, Shape America is so fortunate to have each of you serving as co-chairs of the task force that has come together to revise the National Health Education Standards, which were last revised in 2008. So it's important to acknowledge that so many things have changed since then. And I'm wondering if you might be able to give our listeners a little bit of a sneak peek, if you will, regarding the process that you envision unfolding to do this really important work, acknowledging how much has changed since the last time we revised the standards.
That's a good point, Stephanie. And I just first of all want to say I am honored so much to be leading with Nadine these efforts. And it is also very humbling And I want to acknowledge the work of the previous committees and task force, and what an excellent job that they have done laying the groundwork. That, yes, on one hand, it's been a long time since the standards have been revised, but with that strong foundation, they built in so much flexibility to the standards that they've been readily adapted by so many states. At the local level, there's enough flexibility to allow states and districts to serve the needs of a diverse population. So we just want to give our respect to that. But yes, a lot has changed. I think perhaps the context of the standards have changed, but maybe the basic needs of the human body and mind, they're still universal and well established. So I think overall, we could agree that chronic disease risk is increasing, mental health issues are also increasing, but the basic needs of all human beings are, pretty much what they have always been. So as far as a sneak peek, even a long look, really, we want this very much to be a transparent process, to involve stakeholders at every step of the way. Just to bring you up to speed, what we've been doing this fall with a robust group, a large group that we have spent a lot of time getting to know each other, to know professional strengths, establish collaborative norms, a common language. We're working on a common vision. And so I think what we see happening maybe into the first of the year is getting more down to those subcommittee groups and tackling the standards. Nadine, is there anything you want to elaborate on as far as that goes?
I think you covered it really well. I would say, I guess the only thing I would add is that we also want this to be an inclusive process, and that we do want to gather input and feedback at various points. We are still very early in the process, so stay tuned for more information.
Thank you both so much. Really interesting. Additionally, as we've talked about and acknowledged, the task force itself is quite large, right? As Sarah just mentioned. But the beauty of that size comes in the incredible diversity of individuals who are serving in the group. What are you most excited about in terms of the opportunity to work with such a diverse group of professionals in this school health education space?
Yeah, I think there's just so much to be excited for in terms of the diversity of this group. We have people that represent different locales from ocean to ocean in our nation. And we have people with a lot of diverse experience and expertise, from classroom practitioners to district and state staff to higher ed and partners to Shape America. So I think a lot of us bring a wealth of contribution to this committee. I would also say that while we do have a lot of diversity, I think we are coming together and finding a lot of commonalities in the value that we have for the importance of health education, caring for the whole child, coming to understanding around health literacy and the role of these standards in supporting not only teachers in the classroom, but all the other users that will eventually hopefully embrace the revised standards when we get to that point. So I think there's really a lot to be excited for. We're trying to keep in mind what's best for the nation, but also thinking about potential application along the way. Anything you'd like to add, Sarah?
You give such great answers, Nadine. You covered all the bases for sure. I just want to say something, though, I am very excited about, is one of our members is from New Orleans, and I'm not naming any names, but the convention is coming up in April. And one of the things I am most excited about is getting to meet everybody in person. And she may or may not have promised us some Cajun cuisine. So stay tuned on that.
That's fantastic. And yes, I am also excited about that fact. And I hear at Authority, she has pretty good restaurant recommendations.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's so great. Thank you both. What a thoughtful answer and response. And I just have so much appreciation for your enthusiasm for the diverse makeup of this group as well, and for your appreciation of how important that is when it comes to the revision of these standards. For the sake of our health education profession and their students. So thank you both. When you imagine the end of this process and being able to share with the world at some point a fully revised set of national health education standards, what is your one big hope or wish that really comes to your mind when you imagine that moment?
That is a point on the distant horizon, maybe about 2 years from now, but I think definitely we're going to celebrate that day. I believe that all things work for good, a higher calling, a greater purpose beyond anything that we can ask or imagine. And so it's my hope that our current efforts will reach beyond the immediate and have a lasting impact on the future.
That I was thinking along the same lines, and I think I would also just add that I hope that the standards in their final form, down the line, will really reflect all the voices that we've gathered through the process and not reflect any one voice over another. We really, just as Shape America is doing efforts around equity, diversity, inclusion, that's something we'd like to continue to be mindful of in our task force work. And we also hope that, or at least I also hope that the standards will really help health education to shine as an important part of a well-rounded education.
Thank you both again. I have so much appreciation for your responses and could not agree more that the work that you are both doing and the work of this group to really embed equity, diversity, and inclusion in these conversations and make sure that it's reflected in the outcome of the revised standards is so important, so critically important. So thank you. I have so much appreciation for that. So with that being said, thank you both again for your time and being on the show today. I know everybody listening is really excited for the work you're undertaking and really grateful for your time and your willingness to share this update. Any final words for our listeners?
Yes, my final thought for anyone who's listening is stay connected. Stay connected for opportunities, for feedback, for input, just to be informed of the process. We really do value all the voices that are gathered throughout this process. So please stay connected and let us know what you think.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, and all the listeners. I've just been absolutely delighted to be here. It's such a privilege to be a part of this process. Have a happy and healthy 2022.
Thank you again to our listeners. And I hope that they will continue to tune in to Shape Unplugged. Thank you again, Sarah and Nadine, for being our guests. It was great to have you.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.